Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to another episode of Movie Goodness, where we examine life through cinema here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and happy Memorial Day weekend, everybody. At least here in the United States. I don't know if this is a global type deal. I doubt it. But here in the United States, it is Memorial Day weekend, which means to me a 3 day weekend. And that is the greatest gift you could ever receive to be off an entire weekend plus a day. You know, you have an extra day to kind of recoup. Now, this weekend, normally people would go visit family or have cookouts, barbecues, stuff of that nature. Go to the beach, or those who have swimming pools in the backyard. Go ahead on and jump in the pool or whatever, depending on the weather. Uh, at least down here, it's hot enough for the pool. It's been hot enough for a pool for about a month now. Summer is here. I know summer doesn't officially come around until June the 21st, but it's been summer in southeastern Louisiana for about a month already. It is hot, but it doesn't matter. You didn't tune in to hear my weather report. You tuned in for some movie goodness, and today it was going to be a Memorial Day uh episode, which it kind of is a Memorial Day, but not the Memorial Day that is celebrated here in the United States. It's a memorial for an icon. Just a couple of days ago, on May the 24th, we lost a legend, an icon, the queen of rock and roll, Tina Turner, at the ripe young age of 83. And man, I for some strange reason, it hit me kind of hard. It really did, because I'm a fan. I'm a fan. Along with millions of others around the world. Tina Turner is such an icon, not only in the music industry, but in the black community, in as well as every community. Everybody, I don't care if you black, white, Puerto Rican, uh, Italian, Spanish or Russian. It doesn't matter. Everybody knows Tina Turner. Everybody loves Tina Turner. She is just, or just, she was that type of performer, and had one of the most iconic voices in music. You know what I'm saying? You could really list her in the same category as Aretha Franklin or Whitney Houston. You know, when you hear the voice, you just know. You know, it's some type of power behind her voice, and it was unique in a lot of ways. You know, you didn't hear a lot of singers, or not only back then in the 50s and 60s, but even now. You know, you don't hear that type of voice. You know what I'm saying? And it just carried a lot of power with it. And her life was so troubled, man, even from a right young age of 4 or 5 years old all the way through her early adult age, and her marriage, much publicized marriage, uh, that was depicted in the film Was Love Got to Do with It, and to Ike Turner. And for her to come back from all of that, she just has one of the greatest stories in life. You know, this isn't a movie, this was life. That she just had one of the greatest comebacks ever, and it lasted so long, all the way to the age of 83 years old. And I was going to review what's love got to do with it, but I already reviewed that, I believe last year, for my domestic violence awareness episode. And I said, well, I'm not going to review it this go around. uh, I'm actually going to review a film that she was in. She was only in two movies in her whole career, and one of them is like one of the earliest films that I remember seeing. And today's review will be Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, which is an odd film to review for this for this particular episode for this woman in her life. But it's one of my guilty pleasures, I guess you could say. She was a presence in that film, and we'll get to it when we get to our review. But before we get to that, let's go over the life and career of Miss Tina Turner, who was born Anime Billock on November the 26th, 1939, and she passed away on May the 24th, 2023. She was a singer, songwriter, dancer, actress, and an author, widely referred to as the Queen of Rock and Roll. She rose to prominence as the lead singer of the Ike and Tina Turner Revue before launching a successful career as a solo performer. Tina Turner began her career with Ike Turner's Kings of Rhythm in 1957 under the name Little Ann. She appeared on her first record, Box Top, in 1958. In 1960, she debuted as Tina Turner with the hit duet single A Fool in Love. The duo, Ike and Tina Turner, became one of the most formidable live acts in history. They released hits such as It's Gonna Work Out Fine, River Deep, Mountain High, Proud Mary, and Nutbush City Limits before disbanding in 1976. In the 80s, Tina Turner launched one of the greatest comebacks in music history. Her 1984 multi-platinum album Private Dancer contained the hit song What's Love Got to Do With It, which won a Grammy Award for Record of the Year and became her first and only #1 song on the Billboard Hot 100. Aged 44, she was the oldest female solo artist to top the Hot 100. Her chart success continued with Better Be Good to Me, Private Dancer, We Don't Need Another Hero, Typical Male, The Best, I Don't Want to Fight, and the theme song for the James Bond film GoldenEye. During her Break Every Rule World Tour in 1988, she set a thin Guinness World Record for the largest paying audience, with 180,000 people attending her solo performance. Tina Turner also acted in films Tommy in 1975 and Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome in 1985. In 1993, What's Love Got to Do With It, a biographical film adapted from her autobiography, I, Tina, My Life Story, was released. In 2009, Tina Turner retired after completing her Tina 50th anniversary tour, which was the 15th highest grossing tour of the 2000s. In 2018, she became the subject of the jukebox musical Tina. Having sold over 100 million records worldwide, Tina Turner is one of the best-selling recording artists of all time. She received 12 Grammy Awards, which include 8 Compensative Awards, 3 Grammy Hall of Fame Awards, and a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. She was the first black artist and first woman to be on the cover of Rolling Stone. Rolling Stone ranked her among the 100 greatest artists of all time and the 100 greatest singers of all time. Tina Turner has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and the St. Louis Walk of Fame. She was twice inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with Ike Turner in 1991. I bet that was kind of awkward. And as a solo artist in 2021. She was also a 2005 recipient of the Kennedy Center Awards honors and Woman of the Year award. Tina Turner died following a long illness on Wednesday, May the 24th, 2023, at the age of 83. Tina Turner in her early life was born Anna Mae Bullock on November the 26th, 1939 in Brownsville, Tennessee, the youngest daughter of Floyd Bullock and his wife Zelma. The family lived in nearby rural unincorporated community of Nutbush, Tennessee, where her father worked as an overseer of the crop shearers at Poindexter Farm on Highway 180. She later recalled picking cotton with her family at an early age. Bullock had two older sisters, Evelyn and Ruby, who happened to be a songwriter. She was also the first cousin once removed of bluesman Eugene Bridges. As young children, the three sisters were separated when their parents relocated to Knoxville, Tennessee to work at a defense facility during World War II. Bullock went to stay with her strict and religious grandparents, Alex and Roxanne Bullock, who were deacon and deaconess at Woodland Missionary Baptist Church. After the war, the sisters reunited with their parents and moved them to Knoxville. 2 years later, the family returned to Nutbush to live in the Flag Grove community, where Bullock attended Flag Grove Elementary School from 1st through 8th grade. As a young girl, Bullock sung in the church choir at Spring Hill Baptist Church in Nutbush. When she was 11, her mother Zelma ran off without warning, seeking freedom from her abusive relationship with Floyd by relocating to St. Louis in 1950. 2 years after her mother left the family, her father married another woman and moved to Detroit in 1952. Bullock and her sisters were sent to live with her grandmother, Georgia Ann, in Brownsville, Tennessee. She stated in her autobiography, I, Tina, that her parents had not loved her and she wasn't wanted. Zelma had planned to leave Floyd, but once she became pregnant, decided to stay. She was a very young woman who didn't want another child, Tina Turner recalled. As a teenager, Bullock worked as a domestic worker at the Henderson family. She was at the Henderson house where she was notified that her half-sister Evelyn had died in a car crash along with her cousins Margaret and Viola Evans. A self-professed tomboy, Bullock joined both the cheerleading squad and the female basketball team at Carver High School in Brownville and socialized every chance she got. When Bullock was 16, her grandmother died, so she went to live with her mother in St. Louis. She graduated from Summer High School in 1958. After her graduation, Bullock worked as a nurse's aide at Barnes Hospital. Bullock and her sisters would frequent light clubs in St. Louis and East St. Louis. She first saw Ike Turner perform with his band, the Kings of Rhythm, at the Manhattan Club in East St. Louis. Bullock was impressed by his talents, recalling that she almost went into a trance while he played. She asked Turner to let her sing in the band despite the fact that few women had ever sung with them. Turner said he'll call her, but he never did. One night in 1957, she got hold of the microphone from Kings of Rhythm drummer Eugene Washington during an intermission, and she sang the B.B. King blues ballad, You Know I Love You. Upon hearing her sing, Ike Turner asked her if she knew any more songs. She sung the rest of the night and became the featured vocalist with his band. During this period, he taught her the finer points in vocal control and performance. Bullock's first recording was in 1958 under the name Little Ann on the single Box Top. She was credited as vocalist on the record alongside Ike and fellow Kings of Rhythm singer Carlson Oliver. In 1960, Tina wrote A Fool in Love for singer Art Laster. Bullock was to sing background on Laster's backing vocalist. Laster failed to show up for the recording session, and since Ike Turner had already paid for the studio time, Bullock suggested to sing lead. He decided to use her to record a demo with the intention of erasing her vocals and adding Laster's at the later date. Local St. Louis DJ Dave Dixon convinced Ike Turner to send the tape to Juggy Murray, the president of R&B label Sue Records. Upon hearing the song, Murray was impressed with Bullock's vocals, later stating that Tina sounded like screaming dirt. It was a funky sound. Murray brought the track and paid Turner a $25,000 advance for the recording and publishing rights. Murray also convinced Ike Turner to make Bullock the star of the show. Ike Turner responded by renaming her Tina because it rhymed with Sheena. However, family and friends still called her Ann. He was inspired by Sheena, Queen of the Jungle, to create her stage persona. Ike Turner added his last name and trademarked the name as a form of protection. So in the event that if Bullock left him, he can get another singer and replace her with another quote unquote Tina Turner. Bullock was introduced to the public as Tina Turner with the single A Fool in Love in July of 1960. It reached number 2 on the Hot R&B side charts and number 27 on the Billboard Hot 100. Journalist Kurt Lawler described the track as, quote, the blackest record to ever creep into the white pop charts since Ray Charles' gospel-styled What I Say that previous summer. Another single from the duo, It's Gonna Work Out Fine, reached number 14 on the Hot 100 and number 2 on the R&B charts in 1961, earning them a Grammy nomination for Best Rock and Roll Performance. Singles released between 1960 and 62 included R&B hits I Idolize You, Poor Fool, and Tra La 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 La. After the release of A Fool in Love, Ike created the Ike and Tina Turner Review, which included the Kings of Rhythm and a girl group, the Ikeettes, as backup vocals and dancers. He remained in the background as the band leader. Ike put the entire review through a rigorous touring schedule around the United States, performing 90 days straight in venues around the country. During the days of the Chitlin circuit, the Ike and Tina Review built a reputation as one of the most hottest, most durable, and potentially most explosive of all R&B assembles, challenging the James Brown Review in terms of musical spectacle. Due to their profitable performances, they were able to perform in front of desegregated audiences in southern clubs and hotels. Between 1963 and 1965, the band toured consistently and produced successful R&B singles. Turner's first credited single as a solo artist, Too Many Ties to Bind, We Need an Understanding, was released from Ike's label Soldier Records in 1964. Another single by the duo, You Can't Miss Nothing That You Never Had, reached number 29 on the Billboard R&B chart. After their tenure at Sue Records, the duo signed with more than 10 labels during the remainder of the decade, including Kent, Clanco, Tangerine, A&M, and Minted. In 1964, they signed with Luma Records, a subsidy of Warner Brothers Records, which was ran by Bob Crashnow. Krasnow became their manager shortly after they left Sue Records. On the Warner Brothers label, they achieved their first charted album with Live, the Ike and Tina Turner Show, peaking at number 8 on the Billboard Hot R&B LPs chart in February of 1965. Their singles Tell Her I'm Not Home, released on Llama, and Goodbye So Long, released on Modern Records, were top 40 R&B hits in 1965. Moving on to the 70s when things got a little brutal. In the mid 70s, Ike Turner was heavily addicted to cocaine, which hindered his relationship with Tina. In 1976, they headlined the Waldorf Astoria, New York, and signed a television deal with CBS. Ike Turner made plans to leave United Artists Records for a 5-year deal with Cream Records for $150,000 per year. The deal was to be signed on July the 5th. On July the 1st, the Turners flew from Los Angeles to Dallas, where the Review had a gig at downtown Dallas Hilton. They got into a physical altercation en route to the hotel. Shortly after arriving at the hotel, Tina fled from Ike with only 36 cents and hid at the Ramada Inn across the freeway. She filed for divorce on July 27th and was finalized on March 29th, 1978. After their separation, United Artists released 2 more studio albums credited to the duo: Delilah's Power in 1977 and Airwaves in 1978. Until 1983, Tina Turner was considered a nostalgia act, performing mostly at hotel ballrooms and clubs in the United States. During her second stint at the Ritz, she signed with Capitol Records in 1983. In November of 1983, she released her cover of Al Green's Let's Stay Together. It reached several European charts, including number 6 in the UK. In the United States, the song peaked at number 26 on the Billboard Hot 100, number 1 on the Hot Dance Club Songs, and number 3 in Hot Black Singles. Following the single's surprise success, Capitol Records greenlit a studio album. Tina Turner had 2 weeks to record her Private Dancer album, which was released in May of 1984. It reached number 3 on the Billboard 200 and number 2 in the United Kingdom. Private Dancer was certified 5 times platinum in the United States and sold 10 million copies worldwide, becoming her most successful album. Also in May of 1984, Capitol Records issued the album's second single, What's Love Got to Do with It? The song had previously been recorded by the pop duo Bucks Fizz. Following the album's release, Tina Turner joined Lionel Richie as the opening act on his tour. On September 1st, 1984, Tina Turner achieved her first and only number 1 Billboard Hot 100 with What's Love Got to Do with It. The follow-up singles, Better Be Good to Me and Private Dancer, were both U.S. top 10 hits. The same year, she duoed with David Bowie on a cover of Iggy Pop's Tonight. Released as a single in November, it peaked at number 53 on both the UK and the United States charts. Tina Turner culminated her comeback when she won 3 Grammys at the 27th Annual Grammy Awards, including the Grammy Award for Record of the Year for What's Love Got to Do with It. In February of 1985, she embarked on her second world tour to support Private Dancer. 2 nights were filmed in Belgium, England's NEC arena and later released as a concert on home video. During this time, Tina Turner also contributed vocals to the United States for Africa benefit song We Are the World. Tina Turner's success continued when she traveled to Australia to star opposite Mel Gibson in the 1985 post-apocalyptic film Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. The film provided her with her first acting role in 10 years. She portrayed the glamorous anti-entity, the ruler of Bartertown. Upon release, critical response to her performance was generally positive. The film was a global success, grossing more than $36 million in the United States. Tina Turner later received the NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Actress in her role in the film. She recorded 2 songs for the film, We Don't Need Another Hero and One of the Living, both becoming hits, with the latter winning her a Grammy Award for Best Female Rock Vocal Performance. In July of 1985, Tina Turner performed at the Live Aid along with Mick Jagger. Their performance shocked observers when Jagger ripped her skirt off. Tina Turner released a duet, It's Only Love, with Bryan Adams. It was nominated for a Grammy Award, and the music video won an MTV Video Music Award for Best Stage Performance. Fast forwarding to 1991, Ike and Tina Turner was inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, Ike Turner was incarcerated and Tina Turner did not attend. Tina Turner stated through her publicist that she was taking a leave of absence following her tour and she felt emotionally unequipped to return to the United States and respond to the night of celebration in a manner she would want. In 1993, the semi-autobiographical film What's Love Got to Do With It was released. The film starred Angela Bassett as Tina Turner and Lawrence Fishburne as Ike Turner. They received Best Actress and Best Actor Oscar nominations for their role. While she was not heavily involved with the film, Tina Turner contributed to the soundtrack for What's Love Got to Do With It, re-recording all old songs and several new songs. The single I Don't Want to Fight from the soundtrack was a top 10 hit in the United States and the UK. In 1993, Tina Turner embarked on her What's Love tour, which visited primarily North America with a few shows in Australia and Europe. In 1995, Tina Turner returned to the studio recording Golden Eye, which was written by Bono and Edge of U2 for the James Bond film Golden Eye. In 1996, Tina Turner released the Wildest Dreams album, accompanied by her Wildest Dreams tour. In September of 1999, before celebrating her 60th birthday, Turner released a dance-infused song, When the Headache Is Over, as the lead single from her 10th and final solo album, 24/7. The success of the single and the following tour helped the album become certified gold. The 24/7 tour was the highest grossing tour of 2000, grossing over $120 million. At a July 2000 concert in Zurich, Switzerland, Tina Turner announced that she was retiring at the end of the year. However, Tina Turner made a public comeback in February of 2008 at the Grammy Awards, where she performed alongside none other than Beyonce. In addition, she won a Grammy as a featured artist on River, the Joni Letters. In October 2008, Tina Turner embarked on her first tour in nearly 10 years with the Tina 50th anniversary tour. In support of that tour, Tina Turner released a greatest hits compilation. The tour was a huge success and became one of the best selling tours of all time. In 2009, Tina Turner officially retired from performing. Now, doubling back to Ike Turner, because this is a major part of Tina Turner's legacy, unfortunately, because it is a dark time in her life. And it is very depressing when you really sit down and think about it. You know, how successful she was during this time in her life. And she's performing on stage, and you looking at her and Ike on stage, and you're like, man, that's relationship goals there. But oh my God, when you behind the curtain, it is just hell. That's the only way I can describe it. It's really upsetting to me because I know somebody close to me who went through a domestic violence, relationship, and it's not good, man. It's it's not good, and it should trouble you to hear about this or read about this or know somebody who's going through this, because you're human, and I will hope that everybody is troubled by this. So I'm saying all this because we're gonna go over this period of time, her relationship with Ike Turner right now, because, like I said, this is such a major part of her life. I'll be kind of doing a disservice by not speaking on it. But there is a happy st- happy ending to all this. I just read through it, so there is a happy ending to all this. But I just want to get it over with. So the Ike and Tina relationship. Um, Tina Turner likened her early relationship with Ike Turner to brother and sister from another lifetime type relationship. They were platonic friends from the time they first met in 1957 until 1960. Their affair began when Ike was with his live-in girlfriend Lorraine Taylor. They had sex when she went to sleep with him after another musician threatened to go into her room. Uh, After recording A Fool in Love, Turner told Ike that she did not want to continue their relationship. He responded by striking her in the head with a wooden shoe scratcher. You know those shoehorn things. It's I've seen it before. It's well, hitting with anything is not good, but it's definitely not good to get hit with one. Uh, Tina Turner recalled that this incident was the first time he instilled fear in her. But she decided to stay with him because she really did care about him. After the birth of their son Ronnie in October of 1960, they moved to Los Angeles in 1962 and married in Tijuana. In 1963, Ike Turner purchased a house in the View Park area. They bought their son Ronnie, Ike's son Craig from a previous relationship, and Ike's two sons with Lorraine, Ike Jr., and Michael from St. Louis to live with them. She later revealed in her autobiography, I, Tina, that Ike was abusive and promiscuous throughout their relationship, which led to her suicide attempt in 1968 by overdosing on Valiums. She said, "It was my relationship with Ike that made me most unhappy. At first, I had really been in love with him. Look what he's done for me." But he was totally unpredictable. Ike would later be diagnosed with bipolar disorder at an older age. As I had stated before, Tina Turner abruptly left Ike after they got into a fight on the way to Dallas Hilton in July of 1976. She fled with only 36 cents in her pocket to a hotel that was across the freeway. On July 27th of that year, Tina Turner filed for divorce on the grounds of irreconcilable differences. Her divorce petition asks for $4,000 a month in alimony, $1,000 a month in child support, and custody of her sons, Craig and Ronnie. The divorce was finalized on March 29th, 1978. In the final divorce decree, Tina Turner took responsibility for missing concert dates as well as an IRS lien. Tina Turner retained songwriter royalties from songs she had written, but Ike got the publishing royalties for his musical compositions and hers. She also kept her two Jaguar cars, furs, and jewelry along with her stage name. Turner gave Ike her share of the recording studio, publishing company's real estate, and he kept his four cars. Several promoters lost money and sued to recoup their losses. For almost 2 years, she received food stamps and played small clubs to pay off their debt. Ike Turner stated in several occasions that he was never officially married to Tina Turner because he was legally married to another woman at the time of their ceremony. However, they had a common law marriage and still had to go through a formal divorce. He also stated that her birth name was Martha Neal Bullock, not Anime Bullock. She signed her legal name as Martha Neal Turner on multiple contracts. Now, on in his autobiography, Taking Back My Name, Ike Turner stated, "Sure, I've slapped Tina. We had fights, and there have been times where I punched her to the ground without thinking, but I never beat her up." I'm gonna pause there for a second. That's what beating up is, idiot. That is what is he talking about? In an in a 1999 interview with Roseanne Barr on the Roseanne Show, Roseanne Barr urged Ike Turner to publicly apologize to Tina Turner. In 2007, Ike told Jet magazine that he still loved her and he had written a letter apologizing for putting her and the kids through all kinds of stuff, but he never sent it. After his death on December 12th, 2007, Turner issued a brief statement through her spokesperson. Tina hasn't had any contact with Ike in more than 30 years. No further comment will be made. Ouch. Uh, Turner's sister still considered Ike her brother-in-law and attended his funeral. Phil Spector criticized Tina Turner at the funeral. Uh, Turner told the Sunday Times in 2018 that as an old person, I have forgiven him, but I will not work with him. He asked for one more tour with me, and I said, no, absolutely not. Ike wasn't somebody who you could forgive and allow him back in. Tina Turner revealed in her 2018 memoir, My Love Story, that she had suffered multiple life-threatening illnesses. In 2013, 3 weeks after her wedding to Erwin Bach, she suffered a stroke and had to learn to walk again. In 2016, she was diagnosed with intestinal cancer. Tina Turner opted for home remedies to treat her high blood pressure. Her hypertension resulted in damage to her kidneys and eventually kidney failure. Her chances of receiving a kidney were low, and she was urged to start dialysis. She considered assisted suicide and signed up as a member of Exit. If you don't know what Exit is, it is an international nonprofit organization that assists in suicide. You know, they give you it's like medically induced suicide, like an epidural that lasts forever. You know what I'm saying? It's an assisted suicide thing, and it's a voluntary thing that you sign up for those who are like grieved, you know, just you got days or whatever, and they don't want to suffer. So this is an actual thing, and she actually signed up as a member of that. But her husband offered to donate her kidney for a transplant. Um, Tina Turner had kidney transplant surgery in April of 2017. Unfortunately, on May the 24th of this year, just a couple of days ago, Tina Turner died in her home in Switzerland at the age of 83 following a long illness, including cancer, strokes, and kidney failure in the past few years. Often referred to as the Queen of Rock and Roll, Tina Turner is considered one of the greatest singers of all time. She was noted for her swagger, sensuality, gravelly voice, and unstoppable energy, along with her career longevity and her famous legs. Uh, R.I.P. Queen. You will be missed, man. Tina Turner, what a life, what a career, what a comeback. What I mean to uh go through so much adversity throughout her life. To go through what she went through with her parents, to go through what she went through with her grandparents, with her relationships, with her career, and still to press on, to still be able to become one of the greatest singers and performers of our lifetime is a story that needs to be told throughout time. This is one of the greatest stories ever, man. And it's not made up. This is not fantasy. This is not a comic book. This isn't a movie. This is real life. And Tina Turner really broke down walls, broke down barriers, didn't let nothing stand in her way, you know, despite the fact that she was one of the most popular artists in the world to go through a lengthy divorce and a taxing divorce to the point where she was on food stamps. You know, she was on food stamps, and she has songs that were top 10 hits. You know what I'm saying? And to come back from bravo, man. She lived a life. She lived a life, and she will be sorely missed. So let's get into our review. A film that I know this is Tina Turner Day, and I know the common sense thing to do would be what's love got to do with it. Well, like I said before, I already reviewed that, and I really was gonna do it, but I figured, when would I ever get the opportunity to review this film that I'm about to review? Because I've never been accused of doing the thing that everybody else do. So why start now? It is none other than the 1985 a post-apocalyptic action film Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, which stars Mel Gibson and Tina Turner. This is this was my first exposure to Mad Max. 1985, I was 6 years old. And so I didn't see Road Warrior, and I didn't see, Mad Max 2, or was Mad Max 2 Road Warrior? I forgot, I get them all mixed up. But I didn't see those two at that time. I've seen them since then, but I didn't know this was the third film. you know, so when I saw this, I was like, man, what is this? I didn't know any backstory or, who is Mad Max? Why is he so mad? And this was my first time experiencing Mel Gibson. Uh, Later on, a couple of years later, we get to see him in Lethal Weapon, and the rest is history. But I didn't, like I said, I was 6 years old when this movie came out, so of course I didn't know what was going on prior to this. And then the first one, Mad Max, came out the year I was born in 1979. So I definitely didn't see that. So this was my favorite, because this was the first one I seen. It was something new, um, and different. Here's what Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. This is the premise of it. It's the story of a lone warrior, Mad Max, who is exiled into the desert, and there encounters an isolated child cargo cult centered on a crashed Boeing 747 and its deceased captain. I was like, man, what is this? What is this? I just knew it was crazy. You know, all you see is sand. You're in the desert, and you see these kids, and Mad Max didn't talk. He barely talked. And I'm like, this is the hero? He doesn't say much. By the way, this film is directed by George Miller, who directed all of the Mad Max films, including uh the one that came out a couple of years ago, Mad Max Fury Road, which that go around we didn't have Mel Gibson as Mad Max. We had Tom Hardy as Mad Max. But anywho's, he directed this film as well. This is the only PG-13 Mad Max film. All the rest are rated R. And I guess that's how I got to see it. But I remember Bordertown, and this was one of the standout parts of this movie. You go to Bartertown and you meet Auntie Entity, who is portrayed by Tina Turner. She's the villain, and it's a real like ragtag, kind of like a pirate town. You know what I'm saying? Just full of hooligans and thugs. And she's the quote unquote ruler of this town. And you do something wrong, you go to Thunderdome. You got to go to Thunderdome, baby. One of the scenes that's just this movie has scenes that are branded into my skull. I remember the lines from this movie like I watched it every day for a year straight, which I probably did. That's how much I watched this movie when it was on HBO back in the 85, 86, whenever it popped up on HBO. But I remember the battle in the Thunderdome between Mad Max and Master Blaster. Now, Master Blaster was this giant dude with this, little guy on his shoulders or whatever. And I was like, what type of villain is this? And then through this fight, he's just treating Mad Max like a rag doll. The rule of Thunderdome is two men enter, one man leaves. That's the rule of Thunderdome. And so Master Blaster's just slinging the poor little Mel Gibson around this thing, about to kill him. There's weapons attached to the dome, but none of these weapons are really having any effect on Blaster. He has a giant wooden mallet that he's just hitting them with, and it's doing nothing. But he gets a hold of this whistle. Um, he blows this whistle, and it drives Blaster insane. So every time he blow the whistle, he'll grab his head in pain, and this causes my Mad Max to hit him, and knock the helmet off, and he's about to kill him. He gears up to just smash his head in, and he looks down and he sees the face of Blaster, and you notice that he is intellectually disabled. This isn't a man in his right mind. This is he's slow. He's like a child. He has the mind of a child, and he's being controlled by a master. And the whole point of the fight was Tina Turner's character wanted Mad Max to kill Master Blaster because Master Blaster was trying to get control of Bartertown. And so he had to kill him. And when he refused to kill him, because he felt bad. You know, he was like, man, how am I kill? He doesn't know what he's doing. So Mad Max decided he's not gonna do it. So Tina Turner's character orders one of the bodyguards or whoever to shoot an arrow and end up killing Blaster. Anyway, so the deal was broken. He didn't actually kill him. So the rule there, this is another line that sticks in my mind from Tina Turner. Tina Turner, she delivers some cold lines here, man. I don't like I said, she don't get the credit, I don't think. She was a cold villain in this movie. Break the deal, face the wheel. You know, so he had to face the wheel, and it was exiled. So he had to get exiled into the desert, and you know the rest is here. I'm not gonna go through the whole movie, but it's just those scenes like that. It was just so well constructed. I feel now in later years, as I got older and I watched all of the Mad Max films, this is the lesser of all the Mad Max films. I can honestly say that, but it still holds a special place in my heart due to the fact this is my first exposure to Mad Max. You know, this is what got me into Mad Max. And so for that reason, I love it. I love it. Yes, it is weaker. It doesn't have that same feel as the previous two or even the latest one, Fury Road, but it does have its place. Now, this is one of the films that you can take out of this little film series and it wouldn't hurt anything because it really doesn't go anywhere. You Where the movie starts is basically where it ends. There's no real arc here for Mad Max. And that was one of the things, you know, being a youngster, like I said, 6, 7 years old, watching this movie. I'm like, okay, what was the point of all this movie? But I still enjoy it. Enjoy it to this day. I enjoyed it the other day when I rewatched it for this review. I love this movie. I don't care what nobody say. Yeah, it's the weaker. I acknowledge all that. Yeah, it's a weak film. Does it hold up in parts? Not really. Some parts are kind of dated, but you show me an 80s film that isn't. So for that reason, I give Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome a letter grade of a C plus. I enjoyed it. It's one of those 80s films that um it's just a guilty pleasure, man. It's nothing negative about it, nothing super positive about it. It's just right where it needs to be. But once again, R.I.P. to the queen of rock and roll, Miss Tina Turner. You will be missed. I I mean words can't express. Oh, and by the way, I wanted to say this at the beginning of the show, but I kept rambling like I always do. I also want to acknowledge someone else who passed away earlier this week, Ray Stevenson. Ray Stevenson, an actor who career I've been following for a while. You know, going back to Rome, that was on HBO. That show. He was in the Thor films. He's also had a real underrated performance as Frank Castle, the Punisher, in Punisher Warzone. The movie isn't the greatest, but his portrayal of the Punisher is the best adaptation of the Punisher I've ever seen. And that's including John Berthal in the Netflix series, which I loved. And I love John Berthal's performance. But Ray Stevenson as the Punisher in that movie was spot on perfect. And he's just a character actor. He's popped up in so many films. He's going to be a part of Ahsoka, which is coming up in a few months, I think, on Disney Plus. As I think he's a Sith, if I'm not mistaken. But yes, he passed away. I think Monday. I think he was 58 years old, which isn't that old. So R.I.P. to him as well. But today, Miss Tina Turner, We honor you. We miss you. We love you. This show is dedicated to you. Huge fan. You left a legacy that will last forever. I remember my daughter when I was preparing notes for this show, and she was like, "Oh, Tina Turner died." Yeah, and she was like, "Oh, I don't know who that is," and my jaw hit the ground, and I and I said, "Hey, I mean, you never heard What's Love Got to Do with It?" And she started singing it. She like, "Oh, she sings that?" I said, "Yeah." I said, and she was like, "What else?" I said, "Well, Proud Mary." And she said, "Proud Mary. Is that do 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 do?" I said, "Yeah." I mean, I got so happy I jumped out the seat. I'm like, "Yes, you heard it. You know who she is." And she's like, "Oh, okay. I thought that was Aretha Franklin." No, no, that's Tina Turner. So I told her to Google Tina Turner. Listen to some of her. She got some bops, man. She she got some bops. She is a beast. She was Beyonce before Beyonce. I'll put it like that. But yeah, she will be missed. But what's your favorite Tina Turner song? Is it What's Love Got to Do with It? Is it Proud Mary? Is it A Fool in Love? Is it Nutbush City Limits? I mean, what's your favorite Tina Turner song? Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also look me up on Twitter at KB Radio Network, as well as YouTube. Don't forget to head over to YouTube, look up the KB Radio Network channel, subscribe to the channel, and like this video. Speaking of liking, don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever it is you're currently listening to movie goodness here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me today as we went over the life and career of one Tina Turner. Glad you joined me. Greatly appreciate it. Want you all to know that I love you. Continue to love one another. And until we speak again, you all be blessed.